Hello, this is Franklin McMahon from the CreativeCow.net podcast and also from MediaArtist.com. And we are going to talk about, this is part 2 of our 3-part series of creating a podcast. We're going to talk about creating the RSS feed. Now, this sounds scary, and it's probably maybe the trickiest part of the whole process, but it's the most important. It's the one that you really want to nail down. And so we're in iTunes now. And this is the podcast page. iTunes is a free download. Everything's free. All these things are free that we're going to be doing. So we want to make it really easy. So I'm just going to scroll down and just randomly pick let's randomly just pick this one. Okay, so this is in the iTunes store. And as you can see, the description's there, all the episodes, and the graphic, it looks all cool. Well, where is this coming from? How does iTunes know how to grab these episodes? Where is it getting the graphic? Where did this description come from? Where is this cow right now? These are answers that we want to know. So this all pulls from an RSS feed. And I'm going to go to Firefox for a second. Now, this is the CreativeCow.net podcast RSS feed. And it looks very nice, and it looks pretty complex. And you're probably a little scared right now. But don't be scared, because this is actually a pretty mature feed. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's been growing. We're doing a lot of episodes. So, there's a lot to it. And you can check out the feed right there. And this is our address for the feed right here. So how do you create this feed, and how does this all tie in together? Well, RSS stands for Real Simple Syndication. This feed is what people subscribe to download the show. Now, they don't have to use iTunes. They could use, a lot of different programs to pull down podcasts. And in fact, when you're creating an XML RSS feed, you don't have to type it up by hand. There are programs that can do it for you. There's a few. This is Feeder for the Mac. And what else? We have Feed for All. This is for Windows. I think it's for the Mac too. Actually, yep, it is for the Mac. So now, the good thing about these programs is all you have to do is type in the text, the description, punch in the graphics, and it creates the feed for you. The good part, it's all automated. The bad part, it costs money. Some of these programs could be $30, $40, $50. And you have a little less control since it's all automated. Now, these programs are great. If you want to do it this way, these are some good programs. There's lots of other programs that are available. But what I'm going to show you today is actually how to create an RSS feed yourself. Now, let's talk about iTunes for a second. Let's go back to iTunes. iTunes and Apple have created their own set of tags, and I suggest you use them because a lot of other places are starting to support it, like Yahoo Podcast supports it, and I think any directory that is worth it will support iTunes tags, and I'll show you what the tags are in a second. So we're going to walk through incorporating iTunes tags because I think it is fairly important. So let's go to the XML. Let's get rid of Firefox for a second. Okay, so this is an example RSS feed. Now, I'm going to scroll down and show you that that's it. This is a feed. If I submitted this file, this text file, to iTunes, I could get up and I'd have one episode up and it would be live and millions of people could have access to it. So very, very simple. I'm going to walk you through exactly what we're looking at and how to code it. Now, first of all, you don't have to type this all by hand. Most people just grab a feed or use a basic one and kind of, incorporate their own stuff into it. And in fact, from doing several podcasts now, I've just taken an existing feed and then copied it and put the new info in. And once you kind of realize the template, it's very, very easy. So let me walk you through exactly what we're looking at. So that way, when you type the stuff in, you'll know what you're doing. Now, some of this stuff, you just have to put it in. This stuff up here, this is in every RSS feed for podcasting. This second line is actually for every iTunes. This just makes it compatible with iTunes. So you want to add these two. You want to have channel in there too. These things in blue, and especially down the bottom here, channel and RSS. You just want to have those in there. Those are in every feed. Now, what's different is this stuff. Now, the concepts are the same, the categories and the titles and things like that, but this stuff changes. Now, this kind of looks like HTML. It's very similar. This is the title of the show. This is the link. Now, this is telling the reader, let's just say it's iTunes, what the show is and how to get to the website. So there is the show and the website. You can click right there. So let's go back to the RSS. And there's a description. Again, I've pared these down. When we did the description for iTunes, we made it a little bit more complex. There's a lot of keywords in here so people can search and grab the stuff. But let me go back to that. So I'm going to really make this very basic. English language, your language is inputted right here. Category. Category is technology for this particular show, and these are subcategories, and this is the exact the way you want to type it up. And again, you can cut and paste, type it exactly how you want it, or paste it in and type it exactly as you see it here. Now, where are these subcategories coming from? That's a good question. These are assigned by Apple. Anything that has the iTunes tag shows you that this is an iTunes specific tag, which means iTunes will pick up right away and categorize it, but also other places like Yahoo Podcasts will also categorize it as well. Let me go back to Firefox. I was trying to find a list of tags on the Apple website. I think they took it down. They used to have a PDF with everything, and ironically I found it on the Feed for All site, so you can probably go to that site. And there's a tutorial on iTunes which gives you a lot more info exactly as far as graphic size and all this other stuff. But what is nice about it, it gives you the categories and the subcategories. So no matter if you want to do a talk show, health, sports, become familiar with these so you can put your show in the correct category. So those are the categories. Explicit, the Creative Cow show for now is not explicit. Now, I'm not saying, that could change. I'm not saying it will always be that way, but for now, let's just say it is. So we put no, we will put yes if there was adult language or roughhousing or something. So that's no, and again, this is an iTunes tag that tells in iTunes if it's explicit or not. The summary of the podcast is right here. The subtitle, again, these are all things that will pull into iTunes. Author, again, these are all iTunes tags. Email, and iTunes image is right here. And this image right here is just pulling from the server. In fact, if I go back to the web, I think I have it. Yep, here it is. See? It's just pulling from that address, and we just happen to have that very nice looking cow there. So that's the image for the show. And iTunes keywords, you can just type those in. That way, if people search animation in iTunes, hopefully the show will come up. And that's it as far as telling people what the show is and making this a compatible RSS feed that's very compatible with iTunes and places that support iTunes tags. This is pretty much it. The only thing left is the item. Now, this item right here is the show. These are all the details that tell you what the show is, how long it is, what the show's about, where can you get the show. In other words, this is a subscription file, so the file has to say, okay, this is where the show resides, and actually, that's where the show resides, right there, that web address. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go to the item. This is the episode number. This is the link. This is, the author. This is the date. Again, if you go back to iTunes, that's all of this stuff right in there. It pulls it right in perfectly. Now, you can have different categories for different shows. I'm going to keep this in technology, which is fine, but if this was a special episode that focused on sports, we could actually put sports in just this item as far as the category, and it would come up in sports. Explicit, you can add keywords excuse me, for specific shows, author. Now, the duration is right here. That tells you how long the show is. This is the location of where the show is. And the length, this tells you the type, which is audio. The length right here. Now, where do you find this out? Well, and I'm on Windows, so I'm going to slide this up. You find it right here. This is quite a bit of a smaller file. This is the short show that we did the last tutorial. But you just copy that and slide this down. You paste it in, and then just remove the commas. And that tells iTunes and the reader what the length is. And again, the channel in the RSS, that just happens, that has to be in there for everyone. So that's it. The beginning has to be in there. This stuff just tells what the show is about. And then item tells what the episode is. Now, we only have one item. If we want to add more items, and do copy, scroll down a bit, and do paste. Now we have two items, and we'll just, this is what I do. I just change the feed. I change it to the next day. I change the file names, I change the keywords. It's very, very easy to create an XML feed. So on the next one, we're going to show you how to submit this feed and where it can go from there. But the last thing I want to explain is validating. I'm just going to save this. There we go. Now, validating is making sure all this code actually works. Now, again, we're going to go for free and inexpensive. You already have an RSS feed validator, and that is your web browser. So let's go. Oh, there's the cow. So I'm going to drag the XML feed into the web browser. And it looks beautiful. It's very nice. See, there's the second one I pasted in. Okay, very nice. Now, let's change something. Let's say I forgot a slash, a dash. Let's just take that out. I'm going to hit save again. There we go. I'm going to drag this in again. We go, oops, dragged it into, okay, we want to drag it into Firefox. Okay. Now, this time we have an error, and it's showing exactly what column, what line. So if you try loading your XML, after it's all done, typed in, load into Firefox or Netscape or Internet Explorer, and if it looks good like the last one we just did, then that's fine. If you get errors, you're going to have problems, and you definitely want to correct the errors before you submit to iTunes, because iTunes will probably reject it and not accept it. So we don't want that. So anyway, this is how to create an RSS feed. I know I buzzed through it, but I wanted to do it very quickly. But as you can see, it's very, very simple. There are programs that allow you to do it very automated, and you don't have to do anything fancy. It does it all for you. But really, just sitting down and taking 10-15 minutes, you could actually type up your own RSS feed for completely no cost whatsoever and have a lot of control over it and make it compatible with iTunes and all the other podcast directories. So next episode of this 3-part series, we're going to talk about what to do with the feed. Where does it go? Where do you submit it? How do you get your podcast out to the world so millions and millions of people can check it out? So my name is Franklin McMahon, and we'll see you next time.